breaking barriers and bridging the gaps between patients and doctors. Welcome to Brainstorming with the Docs and your co-hosts, Dr. Glenn Harrison and Dr. Kolby Condos.
All right, everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of Brainstorming with the Docs. I'm Dr. Kolby Condos, my co-host, Dr. Glenn Harrison.
Hey,
How
Dr.
you doing,
Kolby. Doing good. I'm doing good. This is fun. I'm looking
this one. I'm actually pretty excited. When we were brainstorming, pun intended, ideas for this podcast. We talked. We always analyze what some of the questions are from our patients and what some of the struggles they're having. And when it came down to it, I actually think that you came up with this topic. You were like, the hardest part about some of this stuff is that people are convinced this stuff is healthy just based on, the labeling, the marketing on the packaging or the marketing that they see on TV. So we're actually going to look at the psychology behind food marketing a little bit and maybe some things that you should consider when you are shopping or making decisions for your diet.
Yeah. See what's influencing you.
Yeah. What's influencing it, right? If this is your first time watching or listening, please hit like and subscribe, turn on notifications, because we're going to continue to roll out new content each and every week. And hopefully things like this is applicable to you and you find it useful. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about psychology in the food marketing industry.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize, that they want to point the demons out in the world of health or big pharma. I like to point at big pharma and say, oh, well, they're manipulating the system. Well, they have a lot of power. So yeah, they can do whatever they want. And not always, it's very little. It's intentionally for the health, but there's the significant profit driven naturally. But the food industry is not innocent in this either. In fact, it might even be more powerful than pharmaceutical industry. So, they're well educated. There's a lot of power and a lot of psychology, very talented psychologists that are implementing strategies to get people to do something based off their interests that aren't based off health, but based off sales. And we're seeing this all the time. And it's getting really, really disturbing, I think. And people are getting fooled, for lack of a better word. And it's causing not only problems in their health, but it's causing them, it's a learned behavior that it's hard for them to unlearn. Right.
Right. And then it's like generational, right? So their parents, even within the framework of my own family, like my mom's like, oh, this is good for you. So then all the way up until I was in chiropractic school and we're learning about all this nutrition, I'm like, oh, this is good for you. We're like, that's margarine, right?
Well, yeah. This is the way I grew up too.
I can't believe it's not butter. It's so good for you.
Yeah, exactly. There was no concept of it. And even probably previous generations, way before our time, where smoking was, portrayed as being healthy. There were smoking campaigns where, certain doctors recommended this variety of cigarettes versus another variety of cigarettes. They actually got people to buy into that. And there's lots of other really, really, frightening examples. I'll let you start running with them.
So this one's my favorite one. Actually, I use this analogy all the time. Never before, whoever is the marketing guy for Subway is an absolute genius, because this guy or girl, whoever it was, has convinced the general public that it is 100% healthy to eat an entire loaf of bread for lunch.
And Jared is honest.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's like the $5 footlong. So you're eating 12 inches of bread, right? That's a loaf of bread. You're eating that for lunch. But Jared used to walk to and from Subway and eat a heart healthy footlong sub for lunch. And look how much weight he dropped. I mean, that guy seemed very trustworthy.
Yes, he has a good record.
I'm going to leave it at that. He seems very trustworthy. I think we should take our health advice from that guy.
Another one that is still instilled, especially in government protocols. So Canada, yes. I don't even know what they talk about, government food protocols. We could rant on that. We won't. But low fat, right? Remember, it wasn't that long ago where everything was fat free, and there was the war against fat. So fat free, also healthy whole grains. I love that one. It just sounds whole food-ish. It sounds holistic when you say whole grains, healthy whole grains, and also 100% natural. There's been organizations who actually patented the phrase 100% natural based off their criteria so they could use it. So it was just a patent term, didn't have meaning
Well, let me give you, I just thought of this. Like we didn't even talk about this before. My favorite, this one got me even, right? So I bought this salmon. My wife goes, "Where'd you get this salmon?" I was like, "Oh, I bought it from the store. It's wild caught." And she's like, "Oh, that's great." Guess what the name of the company was that was selling the salmon?
No.
Was Wild Caught. So the name of the company was Wild Caught, and then they were selling salmon. So it said Wild Caught Salmon. What would you think? Oh, caught in the
Wow.
wild. No, the company is Wild Caught. That is just genius marketing.
Oh my goodness. So
And it's a
hopefully people
little
are,
bit shady.
yeah, hopefully. Well, I remember years ago, and I don't even know if this was accurate, so I don't want to speculate, but I had heard it was a major fast food chain that called they had one product line, it was called 100% beef. And apparently they patented 100% beef, but it was not 100% beef. It was just a patent. So it's really sneaky. You gotta read between the fine print, because again, what you put in your body is going to form your health.
Right.
Or
You dig your
take
teeth with your grave, right? Or you dig your grave with your teeth. That I got that
Yeah,
backwards.
that's a little more accurate. Another one that I really find this funny is vegetable oil. It just
Oh,
sounds so wholesome and healthy, because if you buy the bottle, there's vegetables on it, but then you look at the fine print, and it actually says does not contain what is in the
what is
illustration.
depicted?
Yeah. And it's all canola oil. And if there's any way you want to destroy your heart, just have some canola oil. That'll do it right away. We've done a podcast, I think, or a couple on
I think
cardiovascular.
so.
You got any others for us?
I mean, zero sugar and sodas. I mean, oh, it doesn't have any sugar in it. Zero. We already talked about low calorie sweeteners. Go listen to that one.
Yeah, you can kill ants with
Pretty
it.
awesome. Pretty good podcast. Even more interesting information, I'd say. So you might be asking, like, what's the point of all this? I think that the basic takeaway point that we want to press upon you guys is that it is financially driven.
Mhm.
It is their marketing for it to appear healthy so that they can have financial gain.
Yeah, and there's no really legal liability to not provide an to not there's no legal liability to promote an unhealthy product. Not in this country, and not in most countries. Anything in the United States can go pretty well. Anything can go on the market. Europeans have the highest health standards when a chemical and food regulation, and then you have Canada, and then you have the rest of the world, and then you have the United States. The United States is on the lowest. It is free market, right? So we're so excited about free market. We should be very proud of that, but that means it's free. So we gotta be careful.
Do your own research, right?
Do your own research. Yeah.
I think another thing that we're considering, not only I thought it was kind of interesting when we were talking about this, because they've even picked up on trends within like health conditions that are becoming more and more prevalent in people, and they are capitalizing on these for again financial gain, but they're making it seem normal. I mean, how often do you see you're playing like Betty White out there, or whatever, and he's like, you're not yourself when you're normal, grab a whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
basically what are they playing on? It's like dysglycemia, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's not just them, it's a whole bunch of people. There's an energy drink out there. Are you crashing? Do you have brain fog around 3 p.m? Are you tired? Do you feel fatigued and you're reaching for that next cup of coffee? Try this.
That's right. So they're like you're saying, they're normalizing a health disorder, like very serious dysglycemia or hypoglycemic tendencies. And then the more, people are like, oh yeah, well, you have this. Well, oh, that's me. Right. So they're actually speaking to a big part of the population, a very sick part of the population, only to make them sicker.
Yeah. Oh, I just need to go buy that. That'll help me out.
Yeah,
right?
that'll help me out. That'll fix me up. And then I'll just have another crash, and then I'll have more of it, and I'll have another crash, and I'll have more of it. Then I'll get fatty liver disease, and then everything else happens.
And then down the rabbit hole you go, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point, right? What is the point? The takeaway of this is when you see advertisements from companies, right? Whether that's on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or the TV or whatever, right? They're pushing a product.
Mm-hmm.
They are pushing that project. That's it. They don't care about your health, right? They care about the bottom line for their company and what their investors have. And they're manipulating basically our mental status.
Mm-hmm.
to make us believe that things are healthy that they're not. So if you're seeing something and you're like, oh, that applies to me, chances are it's probably not a good thing.
That's right. That's really true, especially when it comes to the food industry. So don't give the food industry a check mark that they're telling the truth. And one of the blatantly obvious was I saw in the grocery store. This is a while back. I saw American Heart Association stickers on Cocoa Puffs.
Oh, yep.
I was like, well, there's an affiliation. There we go.
That's got to be healthy, right?
Yeah. So I think that's all we have for this one.
And
don't
actually,
trust the food industry. Be careful.
Yeah. Well, and if you have questions on like healthier alternatives, we have a podcast for that.
That's right.
So maybe check that thing out. Again, if it's your first time listening or watching and you liked it and enjoyed it, hit like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch the next one. If you'd like to get a hold of us, our email is info@brainstormingwiththedocs.com. If you'd like to get on our websites, there's some information on there. Mine is northlakechiropractic.com. Dr. Glenn's is drgharrison.com. And stay tuned because we're going to continue more. Oh gosh, good thing it's
got it. Yeah, you better.
We're going to continue to roll out new content each and every week. So stay tuned.
All right. Thanks.